When you're choosing colors in Adobe Illustrator, you might find it preferable to choose colors from a list of swatches rather than trying to pick out colors from kind of an amorphous color spectrum. If you were following along in the previous lesson, you might want to clear off your palettes, maybe go up here and reset the Essentials workspace. Let's start off by drawing a shape. I'm simply going to click on the rectangle tool here. I'll choose a polygon just so I have something to work with. And I'll put this on the page. Here, hold down the space bar. There we go. It doesn't really matter what you have on there. And get the selection tool. Now, over here on the right is the Swatches panel. Click that. And I'm just going to drag this out onto the page so it doesn't pop back in there. Since this is a CMYK document, these colors are CMYK colors. If you're working in an RGB document, you're going to have RGB colors. You might also want these swatches to be a little bit bigger, and you might want to have a list instead of the swatches. Click this little drop-down arrow here on the top. And right now this is small thumbnail view. Maybe choose medium or a large. You might find this a lot easier to work with, a lot easier to see. If you go up here and you choose list view, I'm just going to choose large list view so I can read it. And now you have exactly what those colors are. And notice that these are specified here as CMYK this and CMYK that. List view is great if there are specific named colors that you're working with, and you can have them in here, and that way you can choose, oh yes, I want this specific one, I want that specific one. Especially if you have maybe a bunch of colors that kind of look similar and you want to be sure that you're choosing the right one. I'm just going to choose medium thumbnail view so we can see everything in here. Now, these are the colors that come with it. You notice that some are solid colors. There are some gradient colors. So if you just click on a regular old color here, it gets loaded into your object. If you choose gradient colors, we'll talk about gradients later on in this chapter. You can have those gradients. And also notice that you have these two rows here with little folder icons. This folder icon shows you grayscale, and this one shows you what they call bright colors. In fact, if you roll your mouse pointer over the little folder, if you could read that there, it says brights. Now, you can create your own folders. Down here, there's a little folder button, and then you can put whatever colors you like in there. Now, in the previous lesson, I showed you how you could bring a color in here. So let's do this. Let's bring up the color panel. I'll drag the color panel on here. If you want to see the options and they're not visible, you can show the options. So what I'm going to do here is whatever object you have selected, I'm just going to choose a plain old solid color there. And now click the little folder icon, and you give it a name. I'll call this Bob's Colors. And you see you could create it from selected swatches, any swatches that you have selected, or maybe from selected artwork. And the selected artwork, of course, is this little shape. And do you want tints or not? I'm going to leave that off, keep this simple. And now I'll click OK. And now this gives me two colors, this kind of dark blue and black. Why? Because this shape has a dark blue fill and a black stroke. Now, I could put some more colors in there if I like. Go here to the color panel, and maybe I'll change to green and take this fill box and drag it right onto the little folder there. And now that's added to your group. Okay, so let's close the color panel here. We'll talk more about the Swatches panel. You'll be happy to know that Illustrator has a lot more colors that you can use than just this small sample here. And there's sort of different ways of looking at them. Down here in the lower left corner, you have what's supposed to look like a bunch of books kind of leaning over. Those are the color libraries. If you put your mouse pointer over it, it shows you Swatch Libraries menu. Now, if you click that, it gives you some kind of helpful, friendly names for other color panels. Art history, maybe you're an art history major and these are some of your favorite colors. Maybe you like corporate colors, which I'm not really sure who decided that's what those are. And notice this also has a little library button so you can choose colors right from here also. Foods, so maybe if you like fruit, you get oranges and apples, bananas. These are kind of pastel looking colors. Now you could close this and come right back here either way. And some scientific colors. Nature is kind of fun. Beach, I like the beach. This is kind of sand, wind, and stars. Now, maybe you're looking for specific Pantone colors. So we can come back to the libraries here, and you see this not very intuitively named color books. And here you have not only Pantone, you have other libraries like Toyo and True Match and so forth. So let's say you're looking for a specific Pantone book, and you see you have Pantone CMYK for coated paper, for uncoated paper, metallic, and so on. So let's say I'm looking for a Pantone solid coated, and I could bring this up. And now I have all of these swatches. And maybe I'll set this to medium thumbnail so I can see what's going on. Now I can simply click, and notice that as you're clicking here in this library, the colors are automatically being added to your swatches panel so that you don't have to hunt for them. Also, you notice that they have these colors here or in here, they have a little dot. That's its way of telling you that it's a spot color. And you can see the name of it if you just roll your mouse over, and it'll tell you, okay, this is Pantone 108C. The C stands for coated paper. Click on the little drop-down arrow, choose large list view. That way if you're saying, oh yeah, I need a specific color. You could also search. I'll click in there and I'll just type 235, and I can say, oh yeah, well there's a 1235 and that's maybe the color that I need. Or there's the 235 that I typed in and there's that color. There's one more way of kind of categorizing the colors in the color panel. Let me close this additional library here. And that is, we have some of these colors are solid, some are gradients, some are patterns, like this little paisley looking thing here. If you click this arrow, you can see right now it's showing us all swatches, but if you want to see just the gradients, you can do that. And it's kind of changes to show you gradients. Maybe you want to see only the patterns. Maybe you want to see only those groups, those folders that you had in there. Maybe you want to see just plain old solid colors instead of all that other stuff. And now if you want to see everything again. So that's just different ways of organizing the colors in the panel. Swatches panel might look simple at first glance, but you see there's a lot going on there. And if you really know how to use it, it can really help you streamline your work.